Welcome back to Book Summaries channel. Have you ever felt like you're working harder and harder, but still missing a sense of true fulfillment and peace? Today, we're exploring the life-changing wisdom of The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma, a modern fable that reveals how to live with more passion, purpose, and peace in our fast-paced world. The story begins with Julian Mantle, a high-profile, ultra-successful trial lawyer who seems to have it all, including a red Ferrari. However, his life is characterized by extreme stress, long hours, and a lack of spiritual connection. This unsustainable lifestyle culminates in a massive heart attack right in the middle of a packed courtroom. This near-death experience serves as a violent wake-up call for Julian, forcing him to realize that his material success is hollow. He disappears from the legal world, selling all his possessions, including his beloved Ferrari. His colleagues are stunned as he vanishes without a trace to seek a more meaningful existence. The chapter highlights the danger of ignoring our physical and spiritual needs in the pursuit of external achievements. It sets the stage for Julian's transformation from a broken man to a wise sage. We learn that sometimes the greatest tragedies serve as the catalyst for our most profound growth. Julian's journey represents the hidden desire in many of us to leave the rat race behind. This opening chapter reminds us that true health and happiness are far more valuable than any professional title. Several years later, Julian Mantle's former protege, John, is visited by a mysterious man who looks decades younger and radiates vitality. To John's absolute shock, he discovers that this radiant, youthful man is actually Julian Mantle. Julian has spent his time away traveling through India, seeking out the sages of Sivana in the Himalayas. He shares that he has found the secrets to lasting happiness and vitality. The change in his appearance is so drastic that John can hardly believe it is the same man. Julian explains that he has returned to fulfill a promise to his mentors, to share their wisdom with the West. He offers to teach John the ancient techniques he learned to master his mind and life. This chapter emphasizes that transformation is possible for anyone, regardless of their past. It builds anticipation for the specific wisdom that rejuvenated Julian's body and soul. The encounter serves as a bridge between Julian's old life of chaos and his new life of enlightenment. Julian begins to describe his arduous journey into the heart of the mountains to find the hidden sages. He recounts his meetings with Yogi Raman, the leader of the sages of Sivana, who agreed to guide him. Julian describes the simple yet profound lifestyle of the sages, who focused on self-mastery and living in harmony with nature. He explains that his transformation was not just physical, but deeply mental and spiritual. The sages taught him that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thoughts. He learned that most people live in a state of mental clutter, which prevents them from experiencing joy. Julian shares that the key to his youthfulness was the systematic purification of his mind and body. This chapter introduces the core concept that the mind is a garden that must be cultivated. It illustrates that true beauty and energy come from an internal state of being. Julian's story serves as proof that age and vitality are largely influenced by our habits and mental focus. In this chapter, Julian dives deeper into the specific encounter that changed his destiny. He describes the breathtaking beauty of the Savannah community and the immediate peace he felt upon arrival. Yogi Raman shared a mystical fable that contains the 7 virtues of an enlightened life. This fable involves a garden, a lighthouse, a sumo wrestler, a wire cable, a stopwatch, roses, and a path of diamonds. Each element of the fable represents a specific spiritual principle that Julian must master. Julian explains to John that these ancient symbols are easy to remember but hold immense power when applied. He stresses that the sages didn't just give him information, they gave him a practical system for living. The chapter highlights the importance of mentorship and seeking wisdom from those who have walked the path before us. Julian promises to break down each part of the fable so John can apply it to his own modern life. This section establishes the framework for the practical self-help advice that follows in the book. Julian details the period he spent as an apprentice, practicing the virtues daily under the watchful eye of Yogi Raman. He explains that knowledge without action is useless, and the sages demanded total commitment. He learned that the first virtue, represented by the magnificent garden, is the cultivation of the mind. Just as a gardener protects their garden from weeds, we must protect our minds from negative thoughts. Julian introduces the heart of the rose technique, which involves focusing on a single flower to develop mental concentration. He teaches John that we must see every experience, even the difficult ones, as a lesson for growth. The sages taught him that there are no mistakes in life, only lessons. This chapter focuses on the importance of mental discipline and the power of focus. Julian explains that a disciplined mind can achieve anything it desires. He encourages John to take responsibility for his inner world to change his outer world. Julian transitions from the mind to the next symbol, the towering lighthouse. This symbol represents the second virtue, which is pursuing your purpose or dharma. He explains that the purpose of life is a life of purpose. Most people drift through life without a clear direction, which leads to a sense of emptiness. Julian teaches John about self-examination and the importance of setting clear, written goals. He describes the 5-step method for reaching any goal, starting with a clear mental image of the outcome. The sages believe that a life without a mission is like a ship without a rudder. This chapter is highly motivational, urging readers to find what truly ignites their passion. It emphasizes that true success is found in following your own heart rather than the expectations of society. Julian shares that once you discover your mission, the universe aligns to help you achieve it. This virtue provides the drive and focus needed to create a lasting legacy. This chapter revisits the garden imagery to explore the concept of Kaizen, represented by the sumo wrestler. Kaizen is the ancient Japanese philosophy of constant and never-ending improvement. Julian explains that the wrestler represents the strength and discipline required for self-mastery. He teaches the 10 rituals of radiant living, which include the ritual of solitude, the ritual of physicality, and the ritual of early awakening. These habits are designed to strengthen the body, mind, and soul simultaneously. Julian emphasizes that you must conquer yourself before you can hope to lead others. He explains that true power comes from within and that the greatest investment you can make is in yourself. The sages taught him to push past his perceived limits to discover his true potential. This chapter provides a very practical blueprint for building a high-performance lifestyle. It suggests that small, daily improvements lead to massive long-term results. Julian introduces the symbol of the yellow wire cable, which represents the virtue of self-discipline. He explains that just as a cable is made of many thin wires, self-discipline is built through small acts of willpower. Without discipline, the other virtues cannot be sustained. Julian teaches John that willpower is like a muscle that grows stronger with exercise. He shares techniques for building mental toughness, such as practicing silence or doing things that are uncomfortable. The sages believe that a person with strong self-discipline has the freedom to choose their destiny. Julian warns that a life without discipline is a life of regret and missed opportunities. This chapter focuses on the necessity of character and the strength of one's resolve. It encourages the reader to take charge of their habits rather than letting their habits run them. Julian explains that by mastering your impulses, you gain true mastery over your life. The next symbol is the gold stopwatch, representing the virtue of respecting your time. Julian explains that time is our most precious commodity, and unlike money, it is non-renewable. Enlightened people understand that time is a gift and must be used wisely. He teaches John about the rule of 20, which suggests that 80% of our results come from only 20% of our activities. Julian stresses the importance of saying no to the unimportant so we can say yes to the essential. The sages taught him to live with a deathbed mentality, viewing each day as if it were his last. This shift in perspective creates urgency and appreciation for the present moment. This chapter is a powerful reminder to stop wasting time on trivialities and focus on what truly matters. It highlights the importance of being ruthless with your schedule to protect your priorities. Julian shares that effective time management leads to a sense of freedom and accomplishment. Julian continues to elaborate on the power of discipline, but shifts toward the symbol of the fragrant roses. This symbol represents the virtue of selflessly serving others. He explains that the fragrance of the rose always stays on the hand of the giver. True fulfillment is found in contribution and making a positive impact on the lives of others. Julian teaches John that by enriching the lives of others, your own life enters its highest dimension. The sages lived by the principle that to live is to give. He encourages practicing small acts of kindness every day without seeking recognition. This chapter highlights that material success is meaningless if it is not shared or used for a greater good. It shifts the focus from self-help to world help, showing that our happiness is tied to our connection with humanity. Julian explains that service is the ultimate purpose of our existence. The final symbol is the path of diamonds, representing the virtue of living in the now. Julian explains that we often spend our lives worrying about the past or the future, missing the beauty of the present. The diamonds on the path are the small, everyday miracles that we often ignore. He teaches John that happiness is a journey, not a destination. The sages lived with a sense of wonder, finding joy in the simple things like a sunrise or a child's laughter. Julian emphasizes the importance of gratitude as a daily practice to stay grounded in the present. He warns that if we wait for some future event to be happy, we will never be happy. This chapter is a gentle call to slow down and appreciate the richness of life as it unfolds. It teaches that the present moment is the only reality we truly have. Julian encourages John to savor the process of living rather than just racing to the finish line. In this chapter, Julian summarizes all the virtues and how they work together to create an enlightened life. He emphasizes that the path of Sivana is not about escaping reality, but about engaging with it more fully. He reminds John that he must now share this wisdom with others to keep the flame alive. Julian explains that true leadership is about serving as a light for others. He challenges John to start applying the rituals immediately, without delay. The transformation of a single individual can ripple out to change the world. Julian speaks with deep conviction about the power of the human spirit to overcome any obstacle. He tells John that his heart attack was actually his greatest blessing because it forced him to find his true self. The chapter serves as a powerful call to action for anyone who feels stuck or uninspired. It reinforces the idea that we all have a monk inside us, waiting to be awakened. In the final chapter, Julian finishes his teaching and prepares to depart. He leaves John with a sense of hope and a clear path forward. John realizes that his life will never be the same after hearing Julian's story. The book concludes with Julian disappearing into the night, leaving John to begin his own journey of transformation. John looks at his own life with new eyes, ready to cultivate his mental garden and find his lighthouse. The monk has successfully passed on the torch, and the wisdom of Sivana is now in John's hands. The message is clear. Anyone can live a life of greatness if they have the courage to change. The red Ferrari is long gone, but the wealth Julian now possesses is eternal. This final section encourages the reader to take the first step toward their own Sivana. It ends on a note of profound inspiration and peace.